all aspiring and emerging leaders out there. Welcome to yet another episode of the Full Stack Leadership Podcast. The conversations cover three aspects for being an effective leader: leading self, leading and influencing others, and creating business impact. Hi, I'm Krishna Prasad, your host. Come, let's dive right in.
Today's episode is a little different. And you know why? Because it's just you and me. As a leadership coach, I get to work with some brilliant leaders, navigating complex, high pressure environments with a variety of challenges both from people and business perspective. I read a lot of books, and sometimes a couple of ideas from a book can bring about a major shift in how we see ourselves and how we lead. So today, I want to share a few of my learnings and aha moments from a book that's become quite a classic in leadership and emotional intelligence circles. And the book is Search Inside Yourself by Chade-Meng. Meng, as he likes to be called, was one of Google's early engineers and later became their jolly good fellow. According to the press, it was the world's best job title. Apparently, his job description was enlighten minds, open hearts, create world peace. How cool is that? But more than that, he helped bring mindfulness and emotional intelligence into the workplace in a way that is practical, science-backed, and deeply human. What I thought I will do in this episode is highlight three such big ideas, which were key takeaways for me. One of the first ideas that struck me in this book is emotional intelligence is not a trait, but it's a skill. And like any skill, it can be trained upon. Come to think of it, we often label people as naturally self-aware or just emotionally intelligent. But what Meng says is if you can breathe, you can grow in emotional intelligence. He backs this up with neuroscience and practice. And for leaders, isn't that empowering? Because so much of our impact comes not just from technical knowledge, but from how we show up in moments that matter, in conversations, during conflicts, in various kinds of decision making. It all starts with awareness of your breath, of your emotional state, and of your default reactions. And that's the foundation. And the best part, you can always start small. One mindful breath before responding. One pause before reacting. One moment of curiosity instead of judgment. The second big idea is that mindfulness isn't just being calm, but it's also about clarity. We often picture mindfulness as something peaceful or meditative. And yes, it can feel that way. But what Meng emphasizes is that the real gift of mindfulness is the ability to see clearly. He defines mindfulness as moment to moment, non-judgmental awareness, and that's it. So when you apply this idea to the leadership, it becomes very powerful. It means noticing when you are triggered before snapping. It means realizing that an employee's resistance may be coming out of fear and not defiance. It means understanding your own patterns so that they don't run the show. One technique that I as a coach suggest, which is also described in the book, is simply labeling emotions in real time. For example, this is frustrating. This is defensiveness. I'm getting angry. Just the act of naming it gives you a distance. It simply changes what we call as reaction into response. Interestingly, the renowned author and speaker Stephen Covey calls this as the space between stimulus and response. And that clarity, and that's leadership. The third key takeaway that stayed with me is that compassion is not just a virtue, it is really a competitive advantage. We don't often use the word compassion in workplaces, but Meng shows through research and stories that when leaders lead with compassion, teams become more innovative, more loyal, more resilient. Google probably was his biggest success story. Compassion doesn't mean going easy on people. It simply means caring enough to be honest. It means giving tough feedback in a way that is rooted in respect. It means recognizing the humanity in your team, even when everybody is under pressure. I have myself seen this in action. One of the leaders I coached had a reputation for being too direct. We both worked on how he could pair the directness with care. The shift wasn't in what he said, it was in the tone and the true intention behind it. And the impact on his team? Immediate. After these three key ideas from the book, I also want to bring up one thing. If I were to bump into Meng, hopefully I get a chance one day, this one question I would probably ask him. How do you bring mindfulness into moments of urgency? When the pressure is high, and when the stakes are even higher. Because that's where most leaders struggle. It's one thing to practice when you're calm, and quite another when you're in the middle of a performance review, or an executive presentation, or in a high order conflict with a key stakeholder. As I would urge you to seek this answer yourself, apparently the answer also lies in simple yet powerful set of mindful practices. I would like to end this episode with a self-reflection question for you as you think about your own leadership. What would shift in your leadership if you took just a few mindful breaths before your next high-stakes conversation? Even one breath, one pause. Do you notice a shift in the quality of your conversations or in how people experience you? How aware are you of your emotional state during key conversations? What might change if you practiced more compassion in high pressure moments? And even better, what might shift in how you experience yourself as a leader? That's it for today's episode, which centered around some key ideas from the book Search Inside Yourself. If you haven't yet read the book, you might want to consider reading it yourself. If you derive newer insights than what I mentioned, I would love to hear from you when you share it with me and our listener community. What's your biggest leadership insight when it comes to mindfulness or emotional intelligence? Until next time, lead from the inside out. Take care.
I thank you very much for listening to this episode of the Full Stack Leadership Podcast. Please don't forget to share your feedback, any suggestions on improvement, or specific leadership topics to talk about. Feel free to share the link to this podcast with your colleagues and friends who you think might find it useful. Thanks again, and I'm your host Krishna Prasad, signing off for now.